That was a brief idea of one of the drills called break in, break out. These drills are part of 64 attacks, which are two-man timing drills in the Pekiti-Tirsia system. This is a linear entry drill, in that we're striking in a linear pattern, which is a high fake to the head down to a knee break. If he goes for that, we'll go to a jab to the eyes. From this drill, I want to enter in on him. So my idea is I'll break in on that backhand strike, trying to rake his eyes with the puño, or elbow, or deliver a shoulder, or hit the nerves in the shoulder or throat, or plexus, or take out the funny bone nerve or the wrist, or come into a groin with the hip. Simon doesn't want to let me get in. Now in Pekiti-Tirsia, for every attack, there's a counter. For every counter, there's a recounter. So if I attack by breaking in, he wants to get off my line, because if I come in like a freight train, he doesn't want to be there anymore. So he's going to sidestep off my line of attack. He now tries to punch me from the side. I don't want to be on his strength line, therefore I sidestep, because he might come in strong, roll this around to rake his eyes. He doesn't want his eyes raked, so he counters me on the elbow, pushes back. I don't want him to leave that hand free, so I'll check his elbow. I'll go to dive to his hand, or he'll dive to mine. If we both do it, that cancels out the strike. I try to break his knee. He doesn't want that, so he slides out to parry it down below and back into the drill. Now, you have a linear striking drill we'll call our A drill, and next we'll have a drill that deals with thrusts we call tapping on 5, 8, and 9. Our thrusts in Pekiti-Tirsia are numerated from the abecedario. Therefore, we call this a 5 thrust, a straight thrust. A backhand thrust is an 8, and a high forehand is a 9 in our system. If Simon comes in with a 9, what we call an umbrella in our system, umbrella to get out of the way. Again, I'm not relying on the stick to move the stick. I'm sidestepping using footwork to get my body off the line of attack and monitoring with the stick so I know where his stick is, but I'm not relying on my weapon to get his weapon out of the way. When he comes in, I'm using the sidestep with the footwork to get out of his line of attack. I go to cut his arm. He doesn't want it cut, so he withdraws his arm in. Again, we're tapping, we're not grabbing. If I were to grab, I'd get tangled up in there. So my first instinct needs to be to just tap. If I see him think about doing a counter, I withdraw and go into my recounter. So from here, when he goes in umbrella and tries to punch me in here, I'm going to jam this with both arms, get him an inside wrist lock, and go to break the knee. He doesn't want that, so he counters my wrist lock and removes the leg shot. If we come in a 5, same idea. I'm going to be out, up, and then down. The idea being that we'll teach you a very basic entry level, how to deal with a thrust. Then we'll go to various levels. For instance, if he comes in with a 5, there are actually 4 angles, 2 on the inside and 2 on the outside for dealing with the basics of a thrust on 5. The same thing on a 9 thrust. There are 2 on the inside, 2 on the outside. And same thing with an 8 thrust. 2 on the inside angle and 2 on the outside angle. So you're going to be dealing with it from the inside. And again, he has counters and recounters. From our thrust drill, we have a diagonal striking drill. Comes from the basic 5 attacks. So we'll strike on 1, 2, 3, and 4 on what I call inside tapping. We'll move from there to variations on that, and then go to what is called outside tapping. Outside tapping is when he strikes on 1, I'll strike, which is of course in reality attack to the hand, attempt to grab his wrist. At first we'll just check it. He'll take my hand off, and then I'll go down to the knee. And then we're out on that side. We'll go across, and a high shot and a low shot where I'm trying to grab his wrist. He removes the grab, and we're back up on top. So you have those variations on drills of linear striking drill, thrusting drill with the different variations, which include also if he grabs my wrist on a thrust. If he has me pinned down and he tries to thrust, I'm going to use my left hand just long enough to get this stick up. I can't do it by itself because he's pinned, but with footwork I'm able to sidestep and get out of the way. From there I'll tap and come in on him. This is called chiquete and etiquette, where if he grabs, if there's a number of movements before my counter thrust, it would be etiquette or indirect. If, however, he thrusts and I go direct on my counter thrust, then it would be chiquete or direct. And there are these moves for thrust on 5, thrust on 8, and thrust on 9. So you can see the pattern of two-man timing drills in Pekiti-Tirsia. You have attack, counter, and recounter. You have various styles of strikes. So you have a linear striking drill, a thrusting drill, and a diagonal striking drill. You also have various ranges wherein, so your drills are formatted this way in 64 tacks. You have a linear striking drill, we'll call our A drill, a thrusting drill, we'll call our B drill, a diagonal striking drill, we'll call our C drill. We also have a close quarter drill, we call Sagang Lebo. At extreme close quarters, you're learning sensitivity to trap and lock very, very close to your opponent. You're getting traps in there, you're getting arm or neck breaks in there or chokes. You're learning how to use the puño and the elbow and the hip and the headbutts in here. You're learning how to reverse the blade if you need to. You're getting some basic disarms in here. So you're getting into dealing with your opponent at extreme close quarters, extreme sensitivity. Thank you. Once you perfect each drill individually, you'll go, let's say, if this is the 1 line on the A drill, and the 2 line on the A drill, and the 3 line on the A drill, and each of these drills have a first move, second move, third move, or attack, counter, recounter, you learn how to go from, say, the 1 line on the A drill over to the, say, 2 line on the B drill. So if Simon and I are doing break in, break out, to go from break in, break out to tapping on the thrust, you have a smooth transition because you can't tell when your opponent may try to do another technique on you. With a combination of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different drills, by the time you get into actual sparring, you've covered most of what someone could do in a fight. In addition, on each of these there's a variation. On the 1 line on the A drill, you might go into the 2 line, or you might break off into, let's say, 1A or 2A. You know, each of these has variations, and each of these has variations, and so on and so on and so on. So you have a wide variety of different moves that could be accomplished in just the 64 tacks of the 2-man timing drills. For instance, in break in, break out, you have right versus left. You have left versus right. You have reverse grip versus forward grip in both left and right. And each of those have their patterns of entry and counter and recounter. So you can see why, for instance, my instructor, Grandmaster Gahe, took 12 years to learn the whole Pekiti-Tirsia system. You can see why it took me 15 years to get the whole Pekiti-Tirsia system. It's just a physically large system. And it starts with drills, lots and lots of drills. That gives you your timing for your sparring. And that gives you a broad overview of the 64 tacks, the 2-man timing drills of Pekiti-Tirsia.